Hello, good morning, everyone. Today we are diving into a topic that touches all of our lives in this digital era sentiment analysis. I am Venkatesh Nidamukala alongside my colleague Chandana. We'll explore how machines are learning to understand human efforts from text. Think about the last product review you read or a political tweet that made you feel strongly. Sentiment analysis is the science behind this. Decoding those very emotions at scale. Over the next 20 minutes, we'll uncover how this technology works, why it matters, and its profound impact on society. Introduction to sentiment analysis. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is sentiment analysis? In simple terms, it's a process of determining whether a piece of text is positive, negative, or neutral. But it's so much more than that. Imagine a company like Apple trying to understand how people feel about the latest iPhone. Instead of reading those thousands of reviews manually, they use sentiment analysis to automatically gauge public opinion. For example, a comment like, "The battery life is amazing," would be classified as positive, while "The phone overheats too often" would be negative. This isn't just about counting words, it's about understanding context, tone, and intent. Why is this topic? So, why should we care about sentiment analysis? Because it's a game changer for decision making. Let's take a real world example. During the 2020 elections, US campaigns used sentiment analysis to monitor social media. If a candidate noticed a surge in negative sentiment around a policy statement, they could quickly adjust their messaging. Business use it to Netflix, for instance, analyzes user reviews and social media chatter to decide which shows to renew. This isn't just about profits, it's about building trust. When people feel heard, they are more likely to trust a brand or institution. What is sentiment analysis? To break it down even further, sentiment analysis is a subfield of natural language processing or NLP. Its job is to identify and extract subjective information. Let's take the sentence: "The delivery was fast, but the product was disappointing." A simple keyword based system might struggle here because it contains both positive and negative elements. But advanced sentiment analysis can detect this nuance. It recognizes that the speaker has mixed feelings. That is why it's not just about algorithms, it's about teaching machine to understand human complexity. Sentiment manipulation in ancient times. Let's take a quick trip back in time. In ancient Egypt, the pharaohs insisted they were gods. That was a powerful message to control their people. In Greece, they had these brilliant speakers called sophists. Leaders would hire them to win arguments and sway the crowd. They were the influencers of their day. And the Roman emperors, they had a famous trick: beer and circuses. They put on massive, exciting games to distract everyone from the problems in the empire. Sound familiar? Today, these same tricks happen online. But now, we have new tools. We use technology to detect when someone is trying to manipulate our feelings and opinions. In the next slide, sentiment analysis in the modern digital age. Fast forward to today, and the digital age has amplified these challenges. Social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter allow misinformation to spread at lightning speed. During the COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, false claims about vaccines went viral. Sentiment analysis tools were deployed to identify and counter these narratives. They help health organizations understand public fears and tailor their messagings accordingly. This shows how technology isn't just part of the problem, it's also part of the solution. Fake news in the Greek and Roman era. Let's look back at history again. The Greeks spread rumors about their enemies to justify wars, like claiming a neighboring state was storing up weapons. The Romans took it a step further, fabricating stories to accept conquests. For example, they would accuse a tribe of being barbaric to justify invading them. Today we see similar tactics in fake news stories designed to provoke emotional reactions. Sentiment analysis helps us flag these stories by detecting overly emotional or biased language. The impact on society. Now let's talk about the impact of sentiment analysis on society. In marketing, companies like Coca-Cola use it to measure reactions to new ad campaigns. In politics, it helps judge public sentiment toward policies. Even in customer service, chatbots use sentiment analysis to detect frustration in a user's message and escalate the issue to a human agent. For example, if a customer writes, "I've been waiting for hours and no one has helped me," the system recognizes the negative sentiment and prioritizes this response. And the digital ecosystem of sentiment analysis. Social media platforms are like giant real-time focus groups. When a celebrity endorses a product, sentiment analysis can track how public opinion shifts within minutes. For instance, when a popular influencer tweets about a new skincare product, brands monitor the sentiment in the replies to measure impact. This creates a feedback loop. Public reactions shape corporate strategies, which in turn influence public behavior. It's a dynamic, ever evolving cycle that sentiment analysis helps us to navigate. Some of the case studies for this, let's look at some real world case studies. During the Brexit vote, sentiment analysis was used to track public opinion across the UK. Researchers found that Leave campaigns used emotionally charged language that resonated strongly on social media. In business, Amazon analyzes product reviews to identify common complaints like a phone case that crack easily. And during the COVID-19 pandemic, sentiment analysis helped government understand which communities were most anxious about lockdowns, allowing them to target support more effectively. And from now, my colleague Chandana will continue explaining the next parts of the project.
So coming to the next slide, the role of algorithms. So algorithms are the backbone of sentiment analysis. So let's take naive Bayes. For example, a simple yet powerful algorithm that calculates the probability of a word being positive or negative based on training data. More advanced models like bidirectional encoder representation transformers understand context. For example, in the sentence, "This movie is so bad, it's good," BERT can detect the scarcism, while simpler models might classify it as purely negative. This is why choosing the right algorithm is critical for accuracy. So coming to the next slide, detection challenges. So of course, sentiment analysis isn't perfect. One of the biggest challenges is scarcism. Take the tweet, "Great job on the presentation," said no one ever. A human would instantly recognize the scarcism, but many algorithms would classify it as positive. Another challenge is multilingual analysis. For example, the word sick in English can mean ill, but in slang it can mean cool. Without context, the algorithm might misinterpret the sentiment. So coming to the architecture and system flow. So how does a sentiment analysis system actually work? So let's break it down step by step. So first, data is collected from sources like Twitter or product reviews. Next, the text is pre-processed. This means removing punctuations, correcting spellings, and breaking sentences into words. Then, features like word frequency and emotional tone are extracted. Finally, a machine learning model classifies the sentiment. It's like a factory line where raw text goes in and actionable insights come out. So coming to the modules of sentiment analysis. So a typical sentiment analysis system has four key modules. The first is text extraction, which gathers data from websites or social media. The second is pre-processing, where the text is cleaned and standardized. The third is sentiment classification, where algorithms like SVM or LSTM determine the emotion. The fourth is result aggregation, where individual results are combined into an overall sentiment score. For example, it tweets about a new movie are positive, the aggregated sentiment is positive. So coming to the technologies for detection, several technologies power sentiment analysis. So natural language processing or NLP helps machines understand grammar and context. So machine learning models learn from labeled data to make predictions. Lexicon-based approaches use directions of emotional words like happy, being positive, and angry, being negative, or positive. More recently, transformer models like GPT-4 have revolutionized the field by understanding the languages. So coming to the manual analysis versus automated system. Now you might wonder, can't humans do this better? Well, humans are great at understanding, but they can't scale. Imagine reading a million tweets manually. It would take years. Automated system can process that volume in minutes. However, humans are still needed to validate results and handle edge cases. For example, an automated system might misclassify a sarcastic comment, but a human could catch it. The best approach is a hybrid one. So coming to the importance of data quality. Data quality is the foundation of accurate sentiment analysis. So if you train a model on biased or messy data, the results will be unreliable. For example, if a sentiment model is trained only on formal product reviews, it might perform poorly on casual social media posts. That's why companies invest highly in cleaning and their data sets, as they says garbage in, garbage out. So coming to the strategies for improvement. So how can we improve sentiment analysis? One strategy is to use advanced pre-processing techniques to handle slang and emojis. For example, a laughing emoji could be recognized as positive. Another strategy is to incorporate contextual information like understanding that not good is negative even though good is positive. Finally, using models that combine multiple algorithms can boost accuracy significantly. So coming to the role of social media platform. So social media platforms are both the source and the solution. They provide the data for sentiment analysis, but they also use it to improve their platforms. For example, Instagram uses sentiment analysis to detect and flag hate speech in comments. Twitter uses it to recommend topics based on user interests. By analyzing public sentiment, these platforms can create safer and more engaging environments for users. So coming to the legal and ethical consideration. So of course, with great power come great responsibility. Sentiment analysis raises important ethical questions. For instance, is it ethical for companies to analyze employee mails? What about privacy concerns? When public social media post. Bias is another issue. If a model is trained mostly on English data, it might perform poorly on text from other cultures. Transparency and accountability are key to address these challenges. So, coming to the global perspective, sentiment analysis isn't just a Western phenomenon, it's used globally. In Japan, companies use it to analyze customer feedback in Japanese, which has entirely different emotional expressions than English. In the Middle East, researchers are building models to understand sentiment in Arabic, which includes many dialects. This global perspective is essential for creating inclusive and fair systems. So, coming to the research development, the field of sentiment analysis is evolving rapidly. Recent developments include deep learning models that can detect emotions like joy, anger, and fear, not just positivity or negativity. Multilingual models are also improving, allowing for more accurate analysis across languages. Explainable AI is another exciting area. It helps us understand why a model classified a text as positive or negative, making the process more transparent. So, coming to the future of sentiment analysis, looking ahead, the future of sentiment analysis is incredibly promising. We will see more real time analysis. Imagine a system that can detect public panic during a natural disaster and alert authorities instantly. Integration with other AI technologies like voice recognition will allow us to analyze sentiment in phone calls or videos. The possibilities are endless and the impact will only grow. So, coming to the community and research involvement, none of this advancement would be possible without community and research involvement. Open source projects like Hugging Face provide pre-trained models that anyone can use. Academic conferences bring together researchers to share breakthroughs, and platforms like Amazon Mechanical Turk help create large, diverse data set. Collaboration is the engine of innovation in this field. So, coming to the references, our presentation drew on several key sources, including foundational work by Pang and Lee, Liu's comprehensive book on sentiment analysis, and Zhang's survey of deep learning technique. These researchers have paved the way for the advancement we see today. So, thank you for your attention. We have covered a lot today, from Asian propaganda to modern algorithms. Sentiment analysis is more than just a technical tool. It's a lens through which we can understand human emotional in the digital age. Thank you.